Okay, let's wrap up this table work. And so the goal here, we're gonna finish up a few things in our little map view and then make a layout that looks pretty and you can export and turn into Canvas and be done with this one. Okay, so let's start with, since we're here, let's clean up our legend or our values that we have for the housing unit change, right? We've got, what is it? Yeah, 6 decimal places here, which kind of it implies a level of precision that we don't really need or care about or whatever. Like, does it really matter that we can get down to the 6 decimal place for this percentage? No. If anything, it just looks clunky. And with a lot of stuff, like, again, as I mentioned, I think in the last video, the computer isn't thinking, it's just doing what you're telling it to do. In many cases, it will give us these 6 decimal places just because it thinks that makes us happy or whatever. I don't know. But it isn't actually meaningful or even correct based on some of the measurements we have and that kind of stuff. So we never want to leave this looking like this. It's a rookie move. We're not rookies, we're pros, right? We are ArcGIS pros. So we're going to fix that. And to do this, I think we did this in the last, that population map thing, but come over here to advanced symbology options. So we're in the symbology tab, right or left click, sorry, on this, go to format labels, decimal places. It says 6. I'm going to open this up so we can see everything. I could, go down that way if I wanted to, but I'm just going to do 1. Okay, 1 decimal place. That's all we need. We don't need to get crazy with this stuff. We'll just leave it at 1 and it'll look a lot better, okay, for what we're doing. This is much more legible, something we can read. It's easy to see. We like that. Okay, now go back over here to this. What is this one called? Primary symbology. So in this screen right here, and we can see it keeps this value in here, but again, it's the label. It's like our alias thing for the tables that we had. So we get that percent sign in there. It's just what we see on this end of the computer. So that looks good there. But now, leaving this here, left click on earthquakes. Okay, and this will bring us to what's going on with earthquakes, which is just this yellow circle for these points here. We're going to do something similar. We don't want to leave it just at this single symbol for every single one. Instead, let's do a similar thing where we show the difference in these earthquakes, which earthquakes were bigger, which were smaller, right? So if I click this drop down, now we do have this graduated colors option, but we never want to do that. Don't do it. Stop it. Don't ever do that when you're working with points. Yeah, it rarely is the right move here. Instead, look, we're dealing with points. Let's mess with these points, right? Let's use graduated symbols. Okay, so based on a certain value, we're going to have bigger points and smaller points. Now, this is silly. It puts latitude as our first one. So no surprise, the higher you go in latitude, the bigger it gets. We don't want that. Select instead magnitude. There we go. Now we got something. What this is showing us is that bigger circle on the map means that was a big earthquake. And the little one, that was a smaller earthquake. Now, one issue with this, I think the table that I supplied for you, it's earthquakes, 5.0 and above within this time period, right? So with these little points that we have here, it's a case where, they're drawn with a small symbol, but a 5.0 is a decent size earthquake, right? And depending on where it is, it can be damaging and have issues. So, having this 4 point symbol here can be kind of misleading. I'm going to bump that one up a little bit. and look at them on here. I don't want it to look minuscule and tiny, but I also want to show off these ones that are, the highest value is 6.98. I want these big ones to be clearly big, right? But the little ones, I don't want them to look too little. So maybe let's try like a 7. Yeah, I'm kind of happier with the way that looks. And you can see I'm not being scientific about this. I don't have some calculation to determine what the proper minimum symbol size is or whatever. I'm eyeballing what looks good, what looks decent here. Okay, so that works for me. I can also change, if I left click on where it said template, um, change the actual symbol itself, right? I can go into this gallery over here and I could pick something. Maybe I want squares, right? Just because circles are so blase, or I'm a triangle man. That's how I operate. All right, you got stuff. What I'll say is don't get too wacky with this stuff, or downright, no offense, but stupid. Don't use this airport symbol for your earthquakes, because I'm going to look at that map, and even if you have a legend, I'm going to go like, what is going on? Did these earthquakes hit airports? What happened? What's going on there? It's confusing, right? So pick something that's simple but attractive and isn't going to be misleading. All right, I don't even like that. Let's do squares. I like that one a little bit better. Okay, we can then go back to properties. I kind of like that yellow with this green. You know, rest in peace, Oakland A's. It's kind of works for that. Okay. Oh, except with this one, see, look at that. See, now I'm seeing as I got it. It's a square and a square. I don't like that at all. When I pick that one, no. Okay, this is just the square, because then it's kind of like, well, I don't know. Is it a little value at the same point where there's a big value, or what's happening? So that one's actually terrible. But this one is okay. Let's go back to our yellow, and this one's got this kind of transparency. Whatever, it's fine. But pick something that works for you. So this yellow, I like that. The black helps it stand out. But another trick you can do is, get a slightly different hue, a little darker version of that same color. Looks a little nicer, a little softer. Maybe you like that. Maybe you don't like that one. Maybe you want it a little darker. Maybe you want to go gray, or just step it up a little bit and do that. Whatever works. But take your time. Play around and experiment with this stuff. But now what we have is some cool stuff, right? We made these earthquakes from that table, but we're also showing the big ones versus the little ones. We also have the counties, and we're seeing where we've got building growth, like a lot of it, and not a lot of it, and all that. You could, you know, take this and do a little more actual analysis. Like at this point, all we can do is just kind of visually look at and see, do we have less building growth where we have bigger earthquakes? Do we have more big earthquakes, in spots where people are like, I don't want to live, or no, there's no correlation, or whatever. And you could kind of, derive some quick judgments, visual analyses from this stuff, just looking at it. In future classes, you'll learn how to really do some statistical analysis to these data layers, to actually, scientifically be able to say, yeah, where we had big earthquakes, nobody's moving there. Or no, doesn't seem to affect it at all, right? There's no correlation whatsoever, or it's a case where people just don't care, or, whatever it might be. We're not to that point yet, but we're able to just kind of show, hey, here's where some big earthquakes are. Here's where growth was at the same time, in the relatively same point in time. Okay? So save if you haven't. Before we get onto the layout, what we want to do is we want to fix California, our dumpy, sad looking California. So if you recall, if we go here, right click on map, and go to properties. Bring this over. Okay, we have, you can rename it if you want. I'm not going to mess with that right now because we're not using multiple map frames. It's all in one. But go down to coordinate systems. And again, it's using this WGS 84. There's this NAD 83 from our earthquakes layer, right? That's where it's pulling that one from. But it's the same deal. It's one of these geographic ones. They're going to look bad. Yeah, we don't want that. So we want to open up projected. And then in here, we can do what we want. There's state systems. I'll show you this one here. Open that up. For the state of California, the official projection / coordinate system that we use is this California teal Albers. This has the NAD 27 datum. If you go down, you've got the NAD 83 version. So if I'm working for the state of California, like the actual state, I would use one of these. And I'll do this and hit apply so we can see it. Let me move this out of the way. That's what the state of California says is the official one. It's slimmer. It's more upright. It is a more majestic looking California, though it's not my favorite one. Okay. Now, if I'm working for the state, I got to use it. That's just what you use. So that's, they have these standards. But actually, what I like to typically do, go into continental, North America, and use one of these. And I'll just, I'll go with 1983. Actually, we could just do, because it doesn't really matter. I'll use this one. Let's just try this one here. I'm not doing this for analysis. I'm just going for the look. So I'll pick this one, a NAD 83 contiguous Albers. Let's do that. Yeah, that works for me. This, I think that's a sexy California right there. Oh, here, I'll go ahead and hit OK to get it there so I can reposition it a little bit. See how jaunty it is? It's just like that. That little tilt, it's just going like, hey, rest of the US, check me out. We're the best. We're the best state there ever was. It's like nodding at everybody. That's the one I like. That's the one I use when I'm just showing California. I still use that whole North American thing, but it gives that little tilt. So yeah, use that one. That's a good looking one. Or not, use the teal Albers one if you can't handle how sexy that is. That's fine. I get it. I'm not here to force you to make your California cool. So whatever. All right. This seems ridiculous, right? But I'm telling you, it's these little things that go a long way. When people look at your map and they see you've done this, they're going to trust you. They're going to go along with you. It looks more professional. All right. So we save that. Insert. We want a new layout. I'm going to do portrait because it's just California. So it's kind of more up and down than side to side. I'm going to do letter just to keep it simple. And so in here, I have to go map frame. I want this one. I'm just going to left click hold, fill the space, but I'm going to leave a little margin there, a little border. Okay. I can also in here go to properties, right here. So right click properties and this paintbrush thing, and I'll just get rid of that so I don't even see it. I'm going to activate, right click and activate as we've been doing. So I can zoom in. If I can't quite get it, just scroll the mouse wheel. I'll do that. That's looking good. I like that right there. The layout, I'm going to close. So I've got this right where I want it. And then here's the nice thing with doing maps of California and just California is when we get rid of Nevada and we don't have, and Arizona and Mexico, and we don't have the Pacific, we've got all this space to put in our legends and our information and all of that. So what you should do, and I don't even need a rectangle because I'm just going to leave it as white space out here. So as I've done before, which allow you to make this rectangle to contain stuff. I don't even need that, right? I can just insert my legend, pop it in here wherever I want it. I'll just do this first one here. Okay, I'll go a general spot. And then again, what you're going to do for this map is you're going to go through and clean this stuff up. Now, one cool thing you can do, you got a few options. All right, well, let's do this first. Number one, get rid of this legend title. Okay, because we don't want that. That's silly. The other thing, right, is we want to, change what we've got actually visible in here. One thing, I don't know if I mentioned before, is that any changes, maybe I've mentioned it, maybe I haven't, but any changes over here are going to be updated in the legend, right? So I could change this instead of this weird computer speak, I could just call it counties. All right. So I just double clicked slowly in here, or you can right click and go properties and general and change the name up there. See, when I change counties here, it reflects it over here. But maybe I don't need, it's clearly counties that we have. Maybe I want to change this to, building growth from, let's see, or let's do building growth. I could just do it like this. Here, let's do this. Growth between 2000 to 2005. It's a little longer in there, but it's telling me exactly what I've got, right? I could leave that percent change. I could actually at the end of this, parentheses, do the percent sign and leave it there. So it's clear, right? Can go and leave this stuff. Where is it? Is it this one? I always forget this stuff. Okay, I'll change the Tahoma things. Wait a second. Let me just get in here. When do I turn off the deal? There we go. Okay, there we go. Back. Legend item. The headings thing, right? So that's that I can get rid of that. But that's just for earthquakes. All right, hold on. Let me select this one. Headings. There we go. To get rid of that percent change. All right. Sorry, I hate the legend thing. I prefer to do it elsewhere in Adobe Illustrator or whatever if I can avoid the stuff, but this is what we're using right now. So yeah, I can do that. Another thing I could do, right? I can save this just for now. But one thing I could do too, I could keep these together and make it meaningful. I could also throw in another legend. Okay, I could do another one of these down here. And so for this one, maybe, if we go, which one is it? Do I have to go back? Yeah, I think I have to do this. So if this is legend 1, I think is that new one. Let's click on properties. Will that bring up, where's my dang? Oh, is this it? Oh no, that's what we do. That's right. See, I can never remember this stuff. It's over here now. Check. This is what happens when you learn this stuff back in the 90s, and these things just change over the years. So over here, this is where we can do it. So I could, let's with this one out here, I could get rid of the building growth, right? With this one, I could get rid of earthquakes. And so I could have two separate legends in different places, kind of separate these things out. So I could do it that way. You don't have to do it that way, but you could. I want to title something up here, and I could call it building growth compared to major earthquakes earthquakes. Oops. And I'm going to click out and adjust. I can fix my, capital letters here for the symbol. I can drop this down in size because clearly that's big. I can see how that looks. I'm going to, of course, change it from Tahoma to something awesome. But, I just saw this one. Like, that's exciting. But, use something that isn't quite so silly, right? Something just clean and nice and looks professional in here. So I could put a title across the top. I could have these in, these two legends in some clean, nice spots. I don't want a north arrow for this one because I have that jaunty angle and it's kind of complicated, but it's going to say north is just straight up and down. In reality, in fact, let's show this real quick. Let's do, this will be obvious. Oh, it did work, actually. It adjusted it. It hasn't done that in the past. But again, it's also not fully necessary for this. So I still want to use it. But that's the thing, because it's that jauntiness, north is technically over there to the right a little bit, not straight up and down. But it's also a case. We're not using this for navigation. You're not taking this map out to go hiking across California. It's like, look, if you don't know what is north in California, just generally speaking, you need to look at a few other maps before you look at our map. So leave the north arrow off. You can leave a scale bar off. We don't need any of that stuff. We just need, the main thing is put in your legends and put in a title. So it's clear and obvious what we got. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like this. Clearly, this isn't perfect yet. We've got that legend thing here. This earthquakes mag doesn't look good. I need to change my decimal places, how many decimal places I have on here, because it's just 5.9000. Ridiculous and meaningless at the same time. So don't want that. So clean that up, make it all look good. That's a good looking map. Make sure to get rid of Tahoma. Have all these fonts look similar. And then when you're done, hit save. Do the whole thing. Go into share. Export that layout as a JPEG. Upload it to Canvas. Check this out. You were just making maps like crazy. And you're actually doing stuff and analyzing stuff. Good work, my little ArcGIS pros. Looking good. Keep it up. I'll see you in the next video.